The Virgin Atlantic business class, or as they call it, the upper class, is a really nice product, but the opinions are divided when it comes to their older business class configuration, also notoriously known as the Coffin Style seat. I got the opportunity to take this flight from Washington DC to London in this older configuration, and here are my thoughts on how it went. Started with the lounge. The Virgin Atlantic Clubhouse Lounge at Washington DC is a really nice space. It is not as big as their main lounge, the Virgin Atlantic Clubhouse at London Heathrow, which I believe is one of the best business class lounges in the world, if not in the London Heathrow Airport itself. And in fact, it's better than some of the first class lounges that I've experienced in the past. There's a review of that London Heathrow Virgin Atlantic Clubhouse coming on my channel shortly, so stay tuned. As far as talking about the Washington DC Dulles Airport Clubhouse by Virgin Atlantic, it's much smaller. The space is good enough for the flyers who take the Virgin Atlantic flight. Occasionally, depending on the schedule, sometimes it is one of the last flights of the day. This flight was leaving at around 11 p.m. in February. And since this was a flight later during the day, and the clubhouse at this time is only open for the business class passenger or other passengers who hold status with Virgin Atlantic, the place was not very crowded, depending on how many people were traveling in the premium cabin on that day. But it's good enough space for everyone to find seat and find some space to kill some time before the takeoff time of the flight arrives. There are spaces to sit downstairs and upstairs. There are small sections for passengers to sit upstairs as well. The ambience is nice. Seems like it has been refurbished a couple of years ago, so you do feel the ambience and the overall architecture a little updated as compared to some of the other lounges, especially the Lufthansa lounge at Washington Dulles, which seems very outdated at this point. But yeah, definitely you get that Virgin Atlantic fun, funky vibe here as well, which is synonymous with their overall brand. The food was pretty decent actually. Definitely try the Indian option that they have. This was chicken tikka masala with rice and naan and some paparam. This was surprisingly good Indian food, and then some salad. All right, with that, time came to start getting on board. This is the first look of the cabin, the infamous coffin style seat, as it is notoriously known as. Since this was a night flight, the departure time was around 11 p.m. from Washington, D.C. The lighting situation wasn't that great, but you can still see what the seats look like and the overall cabin looks like. As much as possible, if you're flying this configuration, try to get a seat on the left side of the plane. These are the seats that don't look straight into the passengers or the flyers who are sitting in the row next to you or the row next to the aisle. So you actually are kind of little hidden from them, because the other two rows of the seats, they look into each other, or the people sitting in those seats, they really have to stare at each other's faces. That's why this configuration is a little strange. I don't know, whoever thought of this configuration must be high on something, because the way the seats are designed, you really can't see outside of the window unless your neck really rotates like 90 degrees or something like that. This is a quick look at the seat during the daytime. You will see again the seats. Not exactly the best seats to look outside the window, but the seats are overall comfortable to sit in, especially in the lie flat bed mode. The seats are comfortable to sleep in. So that's one thing I will give them, that they did a decent job of overall padding and making sure that the seat is long enough. And since the footrest is exposed, it's not hidden under the seat in front of you. You actually feel a little more space for your feet, which is, to me, it's one of the positive that I can get out of this seat. So overall, it's an okay seat if you get a decent redemption on points or cash. This is not a bad way to cross the Atlantic Ocean. By that time, we started pulling away from the gate. The time for takeoff was arriving. The lights were dimmed, and we were ready for takeoff from Washington DC Dulles Airport on a cold February night. It was almost around midnight or 11:45 p.m. around this time when we were ready for takeoff from the Dulles Airport. With that, let's take a look at the in-flight entertainment. The screen is really small and it's old. You can see the age of the seat just by looking at the screen, the size of the screen. The touch functionality was working. Sometimes it was kind of a hit and a miss sort of a situation, but I would say 90% of the time it was working, but not every single time that you will try. The library for movies and TV shows was decent enough since this flight is around 7 hours depending on the wind directions. There was enough stuff to keep you busy if you don't plan on sleeping on this flight. I always enjoy the view of the map, the flight map on my flights, but overall, decent options. The screen would swivel around. It was a little hard just because of its overall age, but yeah, you can kind of move around the screen to have that good angle for viewing. It's actually pretty customizable. That's one positive about it because how far along or different directions that you can move the screen in, as you can see here, was interesting. Now, coming to the headphones were decent quality. They were supposedly noise cancelling headphones. Did not do a great job, to be honest, but they were good enough for the duration of the flight. Since it's a late night flight, some people prefer just going directly to sleep as they already had their dinner in the clubhouse, so it wasn't a big deal. Here's a look at the food and the drinks menu. This is one area where I think Virgin Atlantic does a good job of providing good options for almost all types of meals. I've taken morning or daytime flights coming back into US and then this nighttime flight going into London Heathrow, and they give you this card to fill for your breakfast options, which you can fill and give it to the flight attendant before you decide to go to sleep or even before you have your dinner. And this is the menu for the different dinner options as well as the drink options that are included in the flight. Overall options were pretty good. Right after takeoff, you had the option of various starters here, like the crab cake, salad options, and then you had the char grilled chicken, lobster, and the cheese pasta in the mains. And the dessert options were pretty decent as well. The orange semolina cake, which, spoiler alert, I really enjoyed after the dinner. Then, of course, like some of the other airlines offer, you had the option of a speedy supper or a quick dinner if you don't want to wait for all three courses. And the various options that you'll have in the morning for breakfast, which you can indicate in the other card that they give you. And the different options of the wines and other hard drinks were also available, along with some options for tea, coffee, and other type of soft drinks. I am a teetotaler, so I'm not an expert on the hard drinks, but the coffee options and the tea options and the other hot or soft drink options rather were pretty good as compared to some of the US based airlines in terms of the variety of options that were available. After that, we have a quick look at the amenity kit. They call it a goodie bag. I did not like the quality of the bag. It looks pretty cheap. They claim it's a recyclable bag, which I get it. The sustainability efforts by various airlines is a big deal these days, but they probably could have done a good job of making it better. It was nice to see a pen with Virgin Atlantic branding on it, the eye mask, which is usually standard across all the different amenity kits provided by different airlines. It's pretty well packed. Then we had the earplugs, which I always like and enjoy. I always have trouble falling asleep without them. The brush, it was a bamboo brush. This was actually a nice, decent quality toothbrush compared to some of the other flights that I've taken in the past. Then you have the socks, which were nice and soft, good quality socks. Little thin, but overall okay for a 7 hour flight. Then you had a number of lotions and potions, your usual hand creams, um, face mist type of things. Toothpaste was also included to use it with your toothbrush. And then lip balm and few other options of your usual creams and potions that you get in the amenity kits on other business class flights as well. So overall, a decent amenity kit. I wouldn't say it's one of the best ones out there. Again, the bag or the pouch itself could have been a better quality, but the contents or the stuff in the bag was your standard usual stuff. So overall, an average amenity kit, I would say. And by this time I was feeling really hungry, so let's get started with the dinner service. This thing is really nice, the salt and pepper shakers that Virgin Atlantic provides. These are cute little plane shaped. And I've heard that you're okay to take them with you. I didn't try to take them with me, but maybe next time I can try it. But I've heard conflicting details on it. I just didn't want to try it. Let me know in the comments if you have taken them and if it's okay to take them home. This was the appetizer with tomatoes and cheese. The quality was really good and everything tasted pretty fresh, which was nice. After that, for the main course, I had the entree option, I had the char grilled chicken with some sort of tomato sauce over it with some potatoes and broccoli on the side. It was really nice. And this was the orange semolina cake. This was actually one of the best desserts I've had in a while. So if you are in a flight by Virgin Atlantic and they offer this cake, make sure you eat it. This was good. After dinner, a quick bathroom tour. This was a Boeing 787. So it's your standard 787 toilet. Not too bad in terms of space. You had enough space to move around, do your business. And then they had all the different options stocked up, the toiletries and other stuff. The crew did a really good job of keeping the bathroom clean throughout the duration of the flight, so kudos to them for that. This is a quick look at what the bed looked like, or the seat looked like in a lie flat bed position. As I said earlier, the seat could be a little weird, funky on how it's positioned, but in the lie flatbed position, it actually was pretty comfortable. Long, you get enough space for your feet. I am 6 feet long, so this was good enough for me to lie comfortably on my side or on my back. So no complaints in terms of the comfort of the seat in the lie flatbed position. It's a different story when you're sitting upright, but yeah, the lie flatbed was pretty good. This is just to show you how the tray table comes out and opens. It was, I think, because of the age of the overall plane and the seat, it took a while to take it out, and it's nice hidden in that spot, which is good. And again, here, just to show you that you have a decent space to put your feet on that small feet cubby. And if you're traveling with someone, they can actually sit on that small seat as well, and it has an option of a seat belt as well, which is not the most comfortable seat, but it's still an option if you want to just have a drink or sit with a loved one and just enjoy each other's company. The overall cost in points, This flight was booked before Virgin Atlantic moved to their dynamic pricing. I ended up spending 47,500 points and around 500 US dollars in taxes and fees. And these were the Virgin Atlantic um, program points that I used. They used to have that great program earlier if you're traveling with a loved one, your second business class seat was companion fare was 50% off. They unfortunately don't have the option of that companion fare anymore. And by that time, we were ready for our descent into London Heathrow. Here's a look at the breakfast service. Had some fresh fruits with coffee and some muesli on the side. I had the omelette, which had some paprika potatoes and some sauteed spinach with pine nuts and cherry tomato ragu on the side. This was really good breakfast. It's one of the better breakfasts that I've had in the air. Overall, I had a good experience flying this Virgin Atlantic Coffin Style business class seat, as they call it, in their Boeing 787. I would definitely recommend this if you don't have any other options for business class that might be better than this, and if you're getting a good redemption on points or cash. What are your thoughts about this, and have you tried this business class seat? Share your thoughts and let me know. Thanks.